Welcome back. Nothing says summer like a new psychological thriller, eh? Strung is out now on Peacock, and it really gets that adrenaline pumping. I caught up with the director, Malcolm D. Lee, who just so happens to be Spike Lee's cousin. Take a look.
Malcolm, we all know your work from comedies like The Best Man and Girls Trip, but now you're kind of switching gears to a psychological thriller. What was the most challenging part of jumping into this genre?
Most challenging. I don't know. I felt like it was, my approach to making movies is largely the same, when it comes to like first establishing tone and describing my vision to the actors, to the crew, and making sure that that's very, very clear. And then I have to do a fair amount of research, about like the rhythm of psychological thrillers and horror movies and things like that. So it's not so much. No movie is the same. So I just try to approach everyone with the same thought about tone and making sure that I'm clear on my vision.
Okay, now I want to talk about the music theme. How in the world did you make a violinist scary?
Well, she's not scary. The people around her are scary. I mean, I think, anyone who's performing on stage or performing in front of audiences has a certain amount of fright, right? And a certain amount of stage fright or like nervousness or what have you. So like that's already inherent in the character. But Layla is a very talented musician, an aspiring musician, played by Chloe Bailey, and she does an amazing job in it. And the sound of the strings can do all kinds of things. They can be warm and they can also be creepy. So I love that challenge of like playing with music genres and playing with different musical sounds. And we had great composers on this movie. Ali Shaheed Muhammad and Adrian Young are the composers. They both come from a hip hop and a jazz background, and they offered some amazing things with this movie. And the movie runs the gamut in terms of musical choices as well.
I worry about Sorry. We don't pay you to worry.
Okay, so what do you think draws people to psychological thrillers so much?
That's a great question. I don't know what makes people want to I think people first of all people like to feel, right? No matter what the emotion is, right? They want to be thrilled. They want to be feel that tension. They want to be connected to characters and put themselves in a situation. I think the same thing with comedies. The same thing with horror movies or psychological thrillers. They want to be taken on a ride. They want to feel something, and so I think movies and television have a chance to do that for folks. And, it's entertaining at the end of the day.
This is so exciting. Okay, take us behind the scenes a bit. I'm a producer, so I love going behind the scenes. Was there any humor on set, or did you guys try to keep it serious to keep the tension built?
Well, I think you have to have a set that, is calm for people to do their best work. I don't think, having a bunch of tension is going to necessarily help the situation. I think you have to prepare your talent with the scenes that they're about to do. And I think that's serious. But I think, our actors, beginning with Chloe, who's just, a bundle of positivity. Same thing with Lucy and Laviscount. And then we have the veteran Lynn Whitfield, who just, she does her role and she's, and then she does her take. And then she's out of character and say, okay, what can we do next? How can we make this better? And they were all like that, So, it was a joy to direct these actors. And, we have a great time.
Okay, be honest. This is our last question, but be honest. Even though you knew what was coming, did you ever get frightened during filming?
The only time I get frightened during filming is when we running out of time. That's when I get scared. If I'm if we're in the middle of the day and I've only done 5 of my 20 shots, then I get very scared. I live a horror movie every day that I'm shooting a movie, because it's oh, are we going to be able to get this thing done in time? So that's when everything every day is scary for me.
Malcolm, thank you so much for joining us today, and congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Kelly.
I will take care of you.
I don't need help. but I think you will.
Beat the heat and stay in and check out the new movie, Strung. It's streaming now on Peacock.